is about common, dominant, and recessive traits. These are some of the common dominant and recessive traits in humans that can be easily observed in people around you. The first one is widow's peak. A widow's peak, or the mid-digital hairline, is due to expression of the gene for hairline. This gene has two alleles, one for widow's peak and one for straight hairline. The widow's peak allele is dominant, so that means it's stronger, and the straight allele is recessive. When two widow's peak alleles are present, the individual will have a peak. Then, one widow's peak and one straight allele is present, it will give rise to expression of a peak. However, when there are two recessive genes, that is, straight hairline alleles, the expression of that trait is a straight hairline. It's funny, it says coolmenshair.com. Bent pinky. You can try to bend your pinky finger inwards towards your ring finger or fourth finger. If you're able to do so, it means you have inherited the dominant version of the gene that causes the distal segment of the pinky to bend. Here's another one, crossing of the thumbs. You need to observe the position of your thumbs and relaxed interlocking of fingers. Do you find your left thumb crossing your right thumb? If yes, then you probably have inherited one or two copies of the dominant gene. In case of two recessive genes inherited, you will find your right thumb placed over your left thumb. All right, these were just a few examples of dominant and recessive traits in humans. Let us see some more of these traits in the following list of dominant and recessive human traits. Here we go. A list of dominant and recessive traits in humans. These dominant and recessive traits in humans are commonly observed in individuals. Earlobe attachment. Some people have their earlobes attached to the side of the head, and some people have free earlobes. This is due to a gene that is dominant for unattached earlobes and recessive in case of attached earlobes. So here's unattached, and here are attached. The rolling tongue. If you can roll the lateral edges of your tongue together, then this means you have inherited a dominant trait. Those who are unable to do so are expressing inheritance of recessive gene for tongue rolling. Cleft chin, right there. People who have a cleft chin have inherited a dominant gene, and those with smooth chin have a recessive gene. Dimples. Have you fallen for the cute dimples of Preeti Zinta? Well, she and people all over the world with dimples are expressing the dominant gene for dimples, whereas people without dimples have recessive genes. Handedness. The gene for right-handedness is dominant and the gene for left hand is recessive. Thus, majority of the people have inherited the dominant gene resulting in right-handedness. This is a left-handed, by the way. Naturally curly hair. The gene for naturally curly hair is dominant and the gene for straight hair is recessive. Freckles. All those with freckles, you have inherited at least one pair of dominant gene for freckles. Those without freckles have inherited two recessive genes for freckles. Allergies. People with allergies may have inherited the gene for allergy from at least one of the parent. It is seen that the parent with allergies has a chance that 1 in 4 of their children may develop the allergy. The chances of child inheriting allergy from a parent is about 25%, and the risk increases if both parents have allergies. Color blindness is a genetic disorder that is seen due to presence of a recessive allele located on the X chromosome. There are 2 X chromosomes in women, and one of them usually carries an allele for normal vision. In men, there is only 1 X chromosome, and if they carry an allele for color blindness, they will express this trait. This is the reason that more number of men are colorblind as compared to women. These are just a few of dominant and physical traits in humans. Other dominant and recessive traits in humans include a blood type. A blood type is dominant, O blood type is recessive. Abundant body hair is dominant, little body hair is recessive. Astigmatism is dominant versus normal vision. B blood type is the dominant, O blood type is recessive. Baldness in males is dominant, not bald is recessive. Broad lips is dominant, broad nose as opposed to narrow nose, dwarfism as opposed to normal growth. These are all dominant traits. Hazel or green eyes is a dominant trait. High blood pressure is a dominant trait. Large eyes is a dominant trait as opposed to small. Migraines as opposed to normal. Let's Let's see. Webbed fingers is dominant as opposed to normal fingers. Tone deafness as opposed to normal tone hearing. White hair streak as opposed to normal hair coloring. These are some of the dominant and recessive traits in humans. Every physical, emotional, mental, and health trait exhibited by an individual is all due to gene expression. Whether one wants or does not want, genes are inherited by default. One can never know what traits a baby will inherit from which parent. The genes contain the secret of life, and that is unraveled only after the baby is born.